All right, let's get right into it. If you're on the front lines of cyber defense, you know the rules of the game have completely changed. So think of this as a direct, no-nonsense briefing on the anatomy of a truly modern defense.
2 minutes. Just let that sink in for a second. That is the fastest we've ever recorded a threat actor moving from their initial compromise to another host inside a network. The average is 62 minutes. This tells us everything we need to know. The most critical metric in this fight isn't your budget or your tools, it's time. And frankly, we're losing the race against the clock.
You know, this collapse of time is happening because of another huge crisis. The old network perimeter has basically evaporated. The battle today isn't for your firewall, it's for your credentials. Identity is the new perimeter, and adversaries are just walking right in through the virtual front door.
So how in the world do we fight back on this new battlefield? Well, it all starts in the command center. Let's really nail down the mandate for the modern Security Operations Center, or what we all call the SOC.
The SOC is truly the central nervous system of the entire defense operation. It's not just some room full of flashy screens. It's the hub where you're constantly monitoring, detecting, analyzing, and most importantly, responding. It's where the pure chaos of an attack gets translated into a coherent, organized defense.
And its mission, really, it breaks down into 3 core functions. First, preventative. That's feeding intel to your vulnerability and risk teams. Second, response. Jumping in to support incident responders and isolate threats immediately. And finally, strategic. Using all that data to inform executive decisions and prove compliance. It's a mission that literally runs from the server room all the way up to the boardroom.
Now, to pull this off, the SOC needs a shared playbook, a common language. And that playbook is the MITRE ATT&CK framework. It's how we classify what the bad guys are doing, turning all that unstructured threat chaos into a structured, actionable defense strategy. Okay, so we understand our command center. Now, let's profile the enemy. We're going to shift from our defensive structures to the specific, really sophisticated threats that we're all facing right now. And believe me, the landscape out there is diverse, and it is deadly. You've got groups like Scattered Spider that just bypass endpoints altogether to go straight for cloud identities. You have adversaries living off the land, using your own legitimate tools like PowerShell against you. We're seeing destructive wipers from nation-states, complex supply chain attacks hitting your SaaS apps, and extortion gangs like CL0P weaponizing 0 days for massive data theft. This is not a single-front war by any stretch of the imagination.
So how do we build a defense for all this? Well, we start at that new perimeter we talked about. Layer 1 is all about protecting identity.
Look at this. It's a direct mapping of threat to mitigation. To shut down social engineering like vishing, Falcon's identity protection actually inspects live authentication traffic, things like NTLM. For those cloud-based threats from groups like Scattered Spider, it gives you continuous visibility across both your legacy Active Directory and modern Entra ID. And check this out. To stop lateral movement, it doesn't just block things. It actually detects reconnaissance tools like Bloodhound and can dynamically enforce risk-based MFA, essentially hardening the target while the attack is in progress.
Okay, with identity getting locked down, we move to the device itself. Layer 2 is all about proactive endpoint prevention, stopping threats before they can even think about executing.
This layer is the pre-execution defense. To stop zero-day ransomware before it encrypts a single file, Symantec's high-speed emulator detonates the payload in a sandbox, all in milliseconds. To catch those sneaky living-off-the-land attacks, Adaptive Protection figures out what normal application behavior looks like and then blocks anything that deviates. And for fileless attacks that only exist in memory, Memory Exploit Mitigation steps in to neutralize the techniques they rely on.
But hey, let's be real, prevention is never going to be foolproof. You have to operate with an assume breach mindset. So when an attacker inevitably gets through, Layer 3, deep visibility and rapid response becomes absolutely critical.
Think of this as your forensics engine. Symantec's Endpoint Activity Recorder is like a flight data recorder for every single device, logging everything that happens. This gives your SOC analysts the power to actively hunt for threats by querying endpoints directly. And once a breach is confirmed, boom, they can instantly isolate that device to stop the bleeding and pull memory dumps for a really deep, conclusive analysis.
Which brings us to our final layer of defense. Because at the end of the day, most of these attacks are after one thing and one thing only: your data.
Data loss prevention is the final gatekeeper to stop mass data theft by groups like CLOP.
Semantic DLP inspects data everywhere. At rest on your servers, in motion across the network, and even while it's in use on an endpoint. It can identify critical intellectual property, like that F5 source code that was stolen, and just block its unauthorized transfer. It's a crucial last line of defense, even if other systems have already been popped. Now, here's where it all comes together. Let's see how these layers combine into a truly unified strategy. They can't just operate in silos. Their real power is only unlocked when they're fully integrated. This right here illustrates the absolute core of an integrated defense. You're fusing two critical streams of telemetry. On one side, you've got CrowdStrike giving you the identity context. Who is logging in, where are they, and is this normal? On the other side, you've got Semantic giving you the device and network context. What are they running? What connections are they making? When you combine them, you can connect an anomalous login directly to malicious activity on an endpoint. You complete the entire attack chain.
And this is the end goal, an interlocked, integrated defense. By combining identity telemetry with endpoint and network data, you create a single, unified view of your entire environment. This is exactly how you eliminate those security gaps and blind spots that adversaries are so incredibly skilled at finding and exploiting.
This integration makes a fundamental shift in mindset possible. We get to move from reactively chasing indicators of compromise, the forensic breadcrumbs an attacker leaves behind, to proactively hunting for indicators of attack. What does that mean? It means we're looking for the adversary's behaviors and their techniques in real time. We're catching the malicious intent itself, not just the malware it happens to be using that day.
Which brings us right back to where we started. In a world with a 2-minute adversary, the only question that really matters is this. Is your defense integrated? Is it proactive? And most importantly, is it fast enough?